We have noticed, like others, that certain aspects of a culture can squelch innovation, in that if a group or an individual is not given the responsibility or the incentives to innovate or the freedom to fail, then there's less room for coming up with the ideas that admittedly up front are risky, but later on lead to the type of profits that innovation yields. At the same time, I think something that's important to recognize in management culture is that innovation can be put into a process. It can be taught, and that it's important to institute these type of systems in place rather than find creative people, put them in a room, and hope that they come up with some brilliant ideas for the company. I think a good analogy for thinking about cultures of innovation would be a greenhouse and trying to grow plants. If you're wanting to grow some tasty or beautiful plants, you could build a greenhouse, and that provides an environment in which plants could flourish. However, the greenhouse isn't enough. What happens in there? What if you just built the greenhouse and stopped there with the incentives in place? Generally, it's weeds that'll grow and bugs that would appear in your greenhouse. So then the question that is on the table after you've built the greenhouse, well, what do I do inside of it? What tasks? Who do I hire, and what tasks do they perform so that I end up with the results that I'm trying to achieve? That's, I think, a good analogy for management culture. You can build in the right incentives, which are very important. Without the culture and incentives, you would squelch the opportunities. But once you have those instituted in place, then what do? Who do you hire, and what do they do in their daily tasks? I think there was a hope in a mass marketing era not too long ago where we could make products for a global culture, and the product modifications across cultures would be insubstantial and almost unnoticed, maybe even non-existent. I think that hope has evaporated. Now I think that companies recognize that to design successful products globally, it's really they have to design successful products for specific cultures. One of the opportunities for companies that are wanting to learn how to innovate is to work with us through courses that we offer on campus. One of our campus courses, called Integrated Product Development, is a sponsored course. It's a course where companies work with us. They fly in 4 or 5 times during the semester, and we work with them. We show to them the process. They get to see it unfold in the context of their own company because we're working on an assignment from them. We start at a very broad level. For instance, with New Balance, the one broad assignment from them was design a product to address the needs of overweight people in a way that's consistent with the company. That level of breadth. By the end of just 16 weeks, we deliver to the company prototypes. We deliver them to form prototype, which is the look and feel of how the product works and looks. A functional prototype, a working model, may not look the nicest, but it actually does work. And we also give to them, hand to them a business plan on how do they implement this in practice. Where would they go from here? The companies have really been excited about that course. They learn internally, and we then can follow up and help them along the way internally towards achieving the similar type of environment within the company as we've been able to show them here. They also get to use the products that we develop. When we worked with Ford, out of 12 different projects that they sponsored, they patented 7. Working with International Truck more recently, this past spring, we had 5 projects. They've patented 4. They've gotten 4 patents out of those 5 projects. And in fact, they're moving into production of multiple of those ideas. Right now, John Kagan, one of my co-authors, and I have been doing some research on customer needs, helping, finding a tool, developing a tool to help companies seek out and identify customer needs which they can meet. Strangely enough, we actually had a different goal when we started our research. We were thinking of developing tools to help them measure the needs that they're meeting. But as we started our work, we realized that we couldn't find a comprehensive list of needs that anybody had ever put together. So here in our first stage of our research, that's what we've done. We've gone through mechanical engineering literature who's designed physical products. We've gone through industrial and communication designs literature, which are examining people's interaction with products and how people understand the communication from the product or service. We looked at the marketing literature, which has always been focused on customer needs, but especially in terms of communicating what products would do and communicating emotions and building brand personas, etc. Across all these literatures, we have compiled and integrated sets of needs, defined them specifically the way various research authors made sure there wasn't overlap. And so right there as a starting point, having a comprehensive set of human needs is a way to identify what can we do as a company, and also to look at dynamics in the marketplace, saying what's the rise and fall of values in society in terms of these specific needs that humans have. I think certainly some companies are better. Apple's often comes to people's mind as a company that doesn't necessarily use brand new or the latest technology, but their product ends up selling quite well, like the iPod is an often used example. The iPod has certainly had extraordinary marketplace success, partly because of the aesthetic needs which they figured out how to meet in an extraordinary way. Another company which is really working towards meeting customer needs in a new way is Procter & Gamble. To use their famous Swiffer as an example, nobody would have really thought, the tired old mop industry, why would we develop another mop? However, if we focus on the people who are in current society, a different picture might arise. Homes are getting larger. Larger homes mean more floor space. Also, with the rising affluence of suburban homes, more of the floor space is tile or even wood, but less and less wall-to-wall carpet. So the amount of amount of space that needs to be cleaned is growing. At the same time, the amount of extra time for cleaning house that people have is shrinking. And some people hire extra help to clean their houses, many don't. So there's this huge need for quickly cleaning floors in homes that are floors like wood and tile. That really does show the need for a product like Swiffer, and Swiffer met that in an extraordinary way, and has had the sales that have proven that market opportunity really did exist. One of the big lessons for managers in the book would be that innovation itself is not a magic creativity, a certain gene that some are born with and others are lacking. But innovation can be implemented in a process. Innovation can be systematized, which is good news for companies. Because especially as we look at the development in industry right now, innovation is really a promise for many. As we look at the development of industry right now, some of our gains in the past with lean manufacturing are now owned by everyone, and innovation holds the promise for the future. Another key lesson in the design of things to come is that the type of needs that products are meeting currently in the marketplace is no longer just functional. So if we think of any any product at all. Let's think of something very simple such as a toaster. Well, certainly the function is important to toast our bread, but the other needs are being met are ergonomics, the ease of use, the visual aesthetics as it sits on our countertop, and these are increasingly important to those who are paying for things. Another key point in thinking of innovation as process is where do you start? So certainly once someone assigns you a task as far as outlines a product to develop, we've got product development processes in place to do that efficiently and really at low costs. But as far as deciding what do you want to work on in the first place, there's I think a key point to recognize is it starts with people. And that's a key lesson in the book is innovation is really about people. And the way we wrote the book is to start each chapter centering on people in companies who are the innovators, people in the companies who are simply working there and working at different levels, and then especially consumers, those who are buying and using products. Understanding them at a level of detail is incredibly important because that's the whole purpose of the product in the first place. Innovation, I think commonly people or a company would immediately think of new products, and included in products could be new services, new technology. I think new products as a general term is misleading when we think of innovation. First of all, newness by itself isn't all that much of value. Uniqueness would be another word for new, and there are products that are uniquely poor and underperform in the marketplace. Innovation, to put it more precisely, would be thinking holistically about people and their needs and finding ways to achieve things of value for them. Since innovation is meeting opportunities rather than designing products initially, the first stage in a process would be looking at new opportunities which are arising. So an important avenue to look at, important first step, is to look at dynamics in the marketplace. What changes are occurring at a society level? What changes in the economy are impacting the types of ways people are spending their money? What new technologies are developing, because new technologies are allowing us to meet new needs or additional existing needs in a new way. So a first step is looking at dynamics and getting a sense of how those match with the current branding of the company and the types of capabilities that a company might have. A second key or major step in an innovation process would be to translate customer needs into product features. Now this is a huge step. There's many pieces of this, but understanding customer needs, detailing those and defining those in the context of a company is part of that initial phase of this step, and then selecting and describing ways to achieve those needs and then combining those in a product would be the latter part of that translation process. Consider New Balance. New Balance is an athletic apparel company who sponsored a class here on campus where we were teaching students this process and helping them create new ideas for New Balance. One of the challenges facing New Balance as a company is that Americans are getting heavier and exercising less. So New Balance came to us with that dynamic, that change already in mind. How do we as an athletic apparel company meet the needs of a market which is exercising less and less in a way that's consistent with who we are? As we studied, and as the innovation team of students studied the market and the dynamics there, one group they focused in on was men who are ages 40 to 55. This group of men often exercised back before college or during college, but the busy part of life that came with their careers led them to leave exercise behind and not have the healthy lifestyle they once had. Also, this group of men typically are time constrained. Money's not the issue, it's time. Knowledge, information's not the issue. They fully recognize they're not leading the healthiest of lifestyles, but they simply don't have the time or don't take the time and make the sacrifices for that. Now, that was initially some broad set of understanding of who they're targeting. Moving in more specifically, recent research in exercise and healthy lifestyles has revealed that exercise is cumulative. You don't need to set aside an hour or 2 hours in a day and take the time to change clothes, exercise, shower afterwards, change back again. All of that investment doesn't have to occur at once. So you might have heard of programs like 10,000 steps, where as long as you walk or take as many as 10,000 steps throughout the normal activities in a day, you have already achieved a healthy lifestyle, separately from going to the gym. So leveraging on that 10,000 steps, this innovation team developed a product that would facilitate a 40 to 50 or 55-year-old male to achieve a healthy lifestyle without really burdening that man with much extra time commitment. What they developed was a pedometer that's hidden away in an insole. New Balance already makes athletic insoles, so this would be very consistent with the type of brand and products that the company produces. The pedometer being hidden away was important to this group whose age is 40 to 55 because they're not really wanting to advertise that now they're trying to move towards a healthier lifestyle. I think one very common mistake is the notion that an idea at the very beginning of the process is very similar to an idea at the end. So a process that is a poor process that's commonly out there is to initially look for product ideas. This could take the form of a competition out in the marketplace where customers are dreaming of ideas. This could take the form of looking at garage type of innovators who see what they're producing and then pick the best and work with it. Or this could also take form of in-house, have some brainstorm sessions. Let's generate a long list of product ideas and then now pick the best and work with it. The problem with that process is that you're starting with a product, and the notion that product may not necessarily meet particular customer needs. Also, starting at that late in the process, those companies with that process tend not to go back and think of better ways to achieve the same goal. So starting with customer needs provides a framework to make decisions later on, speeding up product development in later stages. It also gives a framework for making trade-offs as difficult decisions come up later in the process. And then finally, it leads to a level of detail where additional needs or customers are met that would probably be overlooked if we just started midway with product ideas. Another common mistake is to think functionally. So many products, especially early in the life of a product, immature products, we think of their functions. What's this product accomplishing? What task is it doing? So Microsoft Excel, it's a spreadsheet. It adds numbers and actually does an extraordinary number of other tasks for us. What tends to be overlooked, especially for these brand new technologies, are other customer needs like emotional needs, the need for independence, supporting confidence of the user, inspiring or ergonomics of use or usability. Where do we, thinking in software for Excel, how to walk and make it obvious to use the product rather than have the user have to waste time figuring out a sequence of tasks. Okay. So I think a common mistake, to wrap up, to summarize, is that rather than looking at a comprehensive set of needs of customers, especially some more of a human or emotional needs that products can meet, companies often tend to focus on functional needs and keep themselves pretty narrowly defined. One of our book highlights three individuals in particular. D. Kapoor, currently president of International Truck. He has a left-right brain balance to help him give this broader vision for guiding his company to create products. He certainly has a quantitative aspect to make the hard decisions on costs, how expensive is it to build a new product and the trade-offs therein. But he also has an appreciation for the desires, the human desires and aesthetics. When he worked at Ford, he was at a car show and came across a sports coupe. And it had a very high quality grain of leather in that sports coupe. And he was in the truck division at Ford. But it caught his attention because he thought cowboy. He thought saddle leather. And that was the insight which led to the King Ranch version of the Ford F-150, a premium limited edition with saddle quality leather in the truck, along with other very high-end amenities. Anecdotally, and from talking with various individuals, we've asked them about their backgrounds. We've asked them, how did you get here, as some of our questions. And generally, their responses, they've looked way back in their upbringing and growing up. So D. Kapoor, he traveled extensively. As his parents, I guess, traveled extensively due to job changes, and he spent a lot of time in Western Europe. He grew up in India. And as he would travel, he would visit museums in the arts and developed appreciation for things that weren't necessarily business, but for an aesthetic side of life. Edith Harmon. Edith Harmon works with the innovation group at New Balance, athletic apparel company. Edith's background was from building airplane engines. She was an engineer, and now she's working with athletic apparel in innovation, which involves quite a bit of aesthetics. She also looked at visiting museums, more of an artistic appreciation that was developed during her childhood years. So that's what this new breed of innovators is pointing to, as they also struggle to figure out, how did I develop this sense, this balance? What they're partly saying is they learned it, but I think that more could be done on figuring out how do we learn and open our minds to new ideas.